Introduction. All right, the introduction. Is there some other way? Dr. Gordon, is there another way?
Yes, there is. And that's, it took me, I've been working with this other way since the early 1970s and adding different elements to it. And so they all came together in Unstuck. But the basic idea is to look at depression as, and this gets into the next chapter, as a wake-up call. It's letting you know that something is out of balance physiologically, psychologically, spiritually, socially, all these different ways, in one or more of those ways. And the ways to work with it are through all those avenues. If you're in a job where your boss can't stand you and you can't stand your boss and you feel you have to stay and every day going into work is torture, then the way to address your depression is by addressing your job. And I've had plenty of patients. I live and work here in Washington, D.C., and plenty of people have come in to see me with the job as the major issue. So you need to look at the whole picture, and then you need to address the areas of imbalance. Also, what we can do is that the physiological imbalance that may be there in us is not there in everybody, whether it's deficiencies of cortisone or dopamine or endorphins, that those can be addressed in other ways besides medication. Just very simply, meditation with a T and not a C can change those levels of brain neurotransmitters. So can exercise. So can eating in a healthy way. So there are many, many avenues that we can use to help ourselves. And then there are other, and most of them have to do with self-help, things that we can learn to do for ourselves. Reaching out to other people can be helpful. There have been studies comparing psychotherapy with antidepressants, and the psychotherapy comes out in many of those studies at least as well as the antidepressants, and that's just psychotherapy without adding nutrition and exercise and meditation and other techniques of stress reduction. So there are other ways, there are individual ways that can make a difference, and there's a comprehensive, a holistic or integrative approach, which is really what Unstuck describes and shows you how to use, that can make an even bigger difference. So yes, there not only is another way, there are many other ways.
And how does someone who's suffering from depression or just deep in sadness for extended time decide which of those methods might work the best? In your experience with thousands of patients, have you found some kind of a quick trick or a secret in saying, hey, for Rena, meditation will work, but for Joe, finding a group of friends or psychotherapy will work better?
Well, the first thing is you simply have to listen to people. Number one, have to pay attention to what they tell you. Mm-hmm. So I always ask people, and this comes into the first chapter of the book, once somebody realizes, and you're describing somebody who has heard the call, somebody who has come to understand that there's something's not right. I'm feeling down, I'm feeling helpless and hopeless, I'm feeling discouraged, pessimistic, the things I used to love don't please me anymore. So once you're in that state, the question that I would ask, and the question I would urge people to ask themselves, is what's going on? What are the things that are really troubling to me? And the second part of that question is what's helpful? Everybody needs to be looked to individually in terms of thinking about what can be best for them. But what I'm always focusing on for everybody is I'm teaching them some form of meditation, some way to quiet their body and mind and come into balance. I'm always working with physical exercise, finding a kind of movement or exercise that somebody, the patient, person likes to do. I'm always working with nutrition and looking for what's most appropriate and individualizing that as well. In fact, all of these have to be individualized. So for example, even if the research shows that jogging is fantastic for depression, if you hate jogging, I don't think it's going to help very much.
No.
To move your body. So dealing with stress with meditation of some kind of movement of the body, working with nutrition, and working with finding some kind of social support, either formally with a clinician or informally from other people. Those four are always important to look at. Plus, the fifth ingredient, if you will, is helping people find meaning and purpose.
Mm.
Because so many people, when they're depressed, it's because they've come to a point in their life when what gave them pleasure and satisfaction before is no longer doing it. And this may mean they need to simply renew themselves internally and balance out the physiology and psychology, but it often means they need to look for some other way to work, to live, to connect with people, some new chapter in their lives. So all those five I'm always paying attention to.